Questions and comments? The honourable member for Timmins James Bay.
Speaker, I was a little surprised when I heard my honourable colleague talking about how this government respects the jurisdiction of the court, when last week the Justice Minister filed motion in Ontario Superior Court to overturn a decision by Justice Perrell regarding the payment of compensation to the residential school survivor in Spanish. Now, we remember when the Prime Minister made a solemn promise that his government would stop fighting Indigenous families and survivors in court, but they've applied the same brass knuckles principle. So Justice Perrell of the Ontario Supreme Court found what he called a perverse misapplication of justice for a boy that was raped by a priest. Nobody argued that, but he couldn't remember the date he was raped. And Justice Perrell ordered compensation. And to have the Justice Minister, who I don't see very often speak on any of the issues under her watch, to have her undermine the Prime Minister and go and use her authority to go and challenge the Ontario Superior Court over a payment to a victim of rape in a residential school, I find absolutely shocking. I want to ask my colleague how that government can say they represent anything decent and different than the last government if they are going to use the Justice Minister to have her powers to fight residential school survivors over such horrific acts that they were subjected to. I'd like to hear an answer as to why they're using the courts to fight the survivors.
The honourable member for West Nova.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I think it's quite clear that this government has taken the issues of Indigenous peoples in this country extremely seriously. And we have met with and we have consulted with First Nations right across the country and put record investment of $5 billion into the education of people who need it. And with regard to the Justice Minister, she works closely, I know, with the Minister of Indigenous Affairs. They will do the right things for Canada's First Nations people. We're on this side of the House committed to getting it right for First Nations, and we will do exactly that.